Ask. Oh, it's a chance for Bradley Brooks. It's on. Double 18 for a monstrous 147. Bradley Brooks announces his arrival here on day 2 at the Super Series.
Aggressive or safe? There's your answer. It's double 5 to keep this match alive. Exceptional. A brilliant shot from the former German national champion. Does he have enough room? He's going to go to his favoured side. This will be a wonder dart. Over the top. Oh, what a hit that is from Brooks.
Bradley Brooks.
We've had so many examples of a wonder dart this week, but that's probably taken the cake. What a stunning checkout from Bradley Brooks in a game that had a 147 out and a 130 to save the match from the German. But the best start was the last one, without a shadow of a doubt. And that is a really big improvement for the lad from Blackburn, who has just won that game by 4 legs to 2. We'll be back with Neil Mania against the table topper in John O'Shea.
John, you require 104.
Maybe that does go to the point, though, that maybe he didn't feel quite comfortable with the setup yesterday.
Good dart, John. Did you get that right? Oh, he got it right, all right. That's wonderful. Slightly unconventional, but it works.
John, you require 63.
Well, that's a happy accident. That gives him options. 45. He's gone for 5 tops. And that was a brilliant decision for 2 reasons. One, he's hit it, and he remains at 100% on doubles in this match. But because he had that big flight in the way of the single 13, that's why he chose 5 in tops. He's missed match darts already, but he gets more. This time he gets it right, and John O'Shea has now got 10 points in the table. His leg difference will go to plus 12 as well. And that is not only an excellent result for the Joker, but it is good for Bradley Brooks, who got his first 2 points in the previous match here today. 87.86, slightly over what he was doing yesterday. The doubles at one point were perfect. But when he comes back and plays Bradley Brooks in Game 4, we'll talk about the complexity of that. However, before then, we'll see a bit more of Big Jimmy and Big Steve, who are next. Extra notes in people's wallets.
130.
Beautiful dart. Bullseye. John O'Shea with a brilliant performance. He did get opportunities that maybe he didn't warrant, but he does the double over Bradley Brooks over the second round of action today, where we've just seen our first game from that round. He was really, really good once again. 50% on the doubles, like he was in his first game today against Neil Mania. He's going to take some stopping, but Matthew Edgar and I, sitting here in the commentary box, we think he's not going to be stopped. He's on 12 points and very close to qualification already. When we come back, Ole Holtkamp of Germany still has a chance of qualifying, but against Jimmy van Schie, it's got to happen, and it's got to happen now. Treble 20 is the target here. Or should I say, for the majority of people. That's a 96 checkout. And just to explain myself, to get himself to 6 points alongside Ole. That's what happens. And he does the double over Ole Holtkamp in this group. And that is a huge result for Steve Hine, because he's on 8 points and he sees multiple players behind him, and he now has a game in hand that he will play against Neil Mania in Game 6. And if he wins that, that gap is going to double. Let's go to that game after the break, shall we? Bring on the Muffin Man once again.
Steve,
not just the pressure that he'll be feeling for his own story, but in regards to the match.
Interesting.
Game shot.
Wow, I've not seen a 1-2-8 like that before, but he did it on purpose and he did it brilliantly. Well, 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 I'm going to get my head around that. But the Muffin now has to get his head around the fact that he's got a 4-point cushion between second and third position in this table. He has just taken one big stride towards his first Saturday night here in Portsmouth, and everybody chasing has got a huge problem because it's O'Shea and Hine in the top two with double digits. Everybody else at least 4 points back. When we come back, it's going to be Jimmy Van Schie after a short break, taking on the table topper at this time, John O'Shea. Can you believe this?
57.
Well, this has to
Jimmy,
go,
you
or this
require
might be the last
36.
visit he gets with any sort of hope of getting through to Saturday night.
Game shot
In the
on a
words of
sixth
Andy
leg,
Dufresne,
Jimmy Van Schie.
hope is a dangerous thing.
Played
Jimmy,
here
you
at the Super
require
Series.
81.
7 games in a row he has won.
Game shot.
But he
and
has
the
not
match,
won an 8th
Jimmy
in a
Van
row.
Schie.
The man who won in Romania recently is the man to break the Joker's streak. And he keeps things alive as he goes to 8 points in the table. That was a very accomplished performance, and he took full advantage of the fact that John O'Shea just took his foot off the gas a little bit there. He will still remain at the top of the table, but the fact that John got 3 legs in that contest still means that his leg difference is plus 14, and he is still looking good for Saturday night. Still needs to do a little bit more just to rubber stamp his place. When we come back, it will be Bradley Brooks after a short break, and he will be up against Neil Minnear in our sandwich game, the one from the middle, game 8.
Bradley
Zone.
require
That's how
32.
far away he was.
Not again. Okay, at least he's got double 8 this time.
Game
and
shot
finds
on the
it.
fifth leg, Bradley
He's
Brooks.
really good from throwing all the way over to the left, isn't he?
Bradley, you
Neil
require
into
60.
that 6th position.
Double top. Ideal marker.
Game shot and the match.
And a good result for Bradley Brooks. He did a very good job on the throw there. He was broken in that match, but ultimately winning in 7 legs will make him feel sneakily good, in my opinion, because yesterday he lost 2 matches when he was taking the distance. This time he has got it done in leg 7, and with a decent level of performance as well, 91.87 and 4 out of 11 on the checkouts. When we come back, it will be Steve Hine looking to get himself to 12 points alongside John O'Shea in the table. In the last third-round match, he's taking on the German, Ollie Holtkamp.
Steve,
Games
you
like
require
this, you can't
88.
afford darts on the floor. We'll come back to that in a second, because Steve is going for the bull.
Game shot on the
Oh,
second
that's a
leg,
beauty.
Steve Hine.
So, I don't know, but Leonard Gates won in the final. And Steve Hine
Game-
does
game
not
shot on the fourth leg,
get a shot at
Ollie
that
Holtkamp.
138, because Holtkamp has taken himself a wonderful 15 darter there with 101 out.
Fifth leg.
That'll do.
Steve, you require
That'll do very nicely.
105.
Sit back, wait, and hope. Double 19.
67.
The hope turns to,
Ollie, you
if
require
I hit
40.
this, I get 2 points.
Game shot and the match. Ollie
2 points it
Holtkamp.
is for Ollie Holtkamp, and the invitation is paused for Steve Hine for now. He will stay on 10 points. Holtkamp goes to 8, and that's where Jimmy Van Schie is as well, meaning both of those players have still got a chance of nicking that second spot. Nobody is secure yet, and Ollie Holtkamp, with that 94.15 average and 80% on the doubles, has just sent a bit of a statement to the rest of the field. He's still alive. As is Jimmy Van Schie. He plays Bradley Brooks next. Let's talk about that when we return. He's hit one and missed one.
No
Always the
score.
risk.
Bradley, you
Always a
require
risk.
48.
And the
Game shot on
reward
the
for
third
Brooks
leg,
is
Bradley
the fact that he
Brooks.
comes back for 48 and takes it and turns this game around in
Bradley,
that
you
scenario,
require
because
60.
that collision is always possible. Good single. Double top. It's not that bad, Brad. You can get past that dart. Just choose left or right. And this week you've been better from the left-hand side, which is the side you've chosen. Needs to sandwich it in the middle. Oh, it's a great dart. And Jimmy Van
Brooks.
Schie has just been dealt a huge blow of trying to get to Saturday. Bradley Brooks is hanging on by the thinnest of threads. But what you've got to say, without looking at the table, is that it was a really good performance and a confidence-building performance for Bam Bam. Mid-90s average, 4 out of 5 on the doubles. And the fact that he was able to beat Jimmy Van Schie, who played well himself, tells you that the game is in there. But is it enough to keep himself in the reckoning? It is O'Shea against Hine next, and this game could be telling us an awful lot about who wins Group C.
So when an opportunity presents itself, he needs to step up.
Step up. And there he does, with a perfectly linear finish. 63 for tops. You could probably draw a straight line through those darts.
101 to move himself on to 12 points.
Not quite.
76.
Excellent effort.
John, you
But now he has to look to see if
101.
John O'Shea can take what he's just missed.
49.
He can't, and Hine
Steve, you require 25.
has got half a bull to negotiate the man at the top of the table.
Game shot.
Great
Undermatch,
result for the
Steve
Muffin
Hine.
Man. He's so close to getting to Saturday night now. And with that 4-2 victory, his leg difference goes to +6. John O'Shea's goes to +12. They're both on 12 points. It's going to be a Herculean effort needed by Holtkamp to get himself into Saturday night from this position. He needs to beat Neil Menier next. To find out if he can do it, just stay here.
Neil, you
5
require
past 1.
104.
That 12 points might just be enough in this group. Can I borrow your crystal ball? Because it looks like it might be.
Game shot on the
And
first
there
leg.
is the
Neil
first
Menier.
hammer blow to Ola Holtkamp. He can, but he
137.
might need mistakes along the way from the Blackburn ace. Oh, hello. Double top. Match dart.
97. Steve, you require 106.
If he'd hit that tops, he would have gone full on AC/DC back to Blackburn.
72.
Wrong double
Bradley,
for the
you
Muffin
require
Man. He leaves
40.
himself on 34. And Bradley has now got multiple darts for the match.
Game shot.
He doesn't need any more. He ends on a high. He's had a really good Friday. And when Bradley Brooks comes back, I'm sure he will.
Jimmy, you require 140.
Could go 18s on this shot if he wishes. And does. Wonderful. Double 16.
Shot
Oh,
on
brilliant.
the fourth leg. Jimmy Van Schie.
Brilliant.
180.
180, number 5.
80.
You are 56 points away, Jimmy, from a glass of water.
It's not normally the prize that people would want,
100.
is it?
Jimmy, you require 56.
It's not the worst prize in the world. How do you split a kitchen on bullseye? Double top.
Game shot.
Wonderfully
and the
done.
match. Jimmy
2, 3,
Van
6
Schie.
in 5. And that is a really good crescendo for a very talented Dutch player who I am sure we will see grace the shores of Portsmouth once again. It's not meant to be for Jimmy, but he leaves on a high just like Bradley Brooks did in the previous match. Neil Menier goes back to Cornwall after a decent showing on his debut campaign. We're going to see the end of the Group C campaign here today. It's going to be John O'Shea toasting himself with a glass of water on the stage as he will finish first ahead of Holtkamp, who has not had a good day at all.
Offering quite
John, you
little
require
resistance at
70.
the moment.
Bullseye for O'Shea.
Game shot on the
There it
second
is.
leg. John O'Shea.
A little bit of barbecue sauce for the Irishman. They don't have a great deal of barbecue sauce in their cookery, do they? They're more about
Third leg. It's Ollie to throw first.
liver and steak.
Game on. John, you require 64.
64 to finish with a bagel.
Game
John
shot
O'Shea
and
has
the
done
match.
his job.
John O'Shea.
He's going to Saturday night as the Group C winner. This is no joke. John O'Shea wants to rebound to the Pro Tour. That is a fact. But the start of his season is going to start with a Saturday night in Portsmouth in the Week 12 finals. That was a very professional job at the end there from John, averaging 88.41. And if you've been tuning in to the Super Series action over the last 18 months, you know that that is exactly 17 darts per leg. So he needed 68 darts to take care of Ole Holtkamp, who leaves the Super Series after 5 days of action. We wish him well, and we may see him again after the Deutsche Darts Tour starts in the middle of a few months' time. But for now, I've been the asset Paul Nicholson. We've got on the stage Matthew Edgar and Henry Deacon to bring us to the end of our show.
And we're joined by John O'Shea. John, many congratulations. First appearance here at the Super Series, through to Saturday night. Job done.
Yeah. Not the way I wanted it to go, like, but yeah, true. That's a bonus. Yeah, I'll take that.
How would you assess the last couple of days overall from your perspective?
He knows. He knows. The only thing I can say is the last 2 days is a perfect example as to why I lost my tour card.
Mm-hmm.
Up, down, in between. It's just not good enough.
As you say, it's that consistency, isn't it? How difficult is that to find?
I don't know. I really don't know. I'll be honest with you, I've had dartitis. Mm-hmm. I've had things down through my life that I was able to overcome because I'm strong that way. Mm-hmm. But this is one thing that really has my brain completely mush.
Mm-hmm. And so what are you looking to find then as a consequence through the process that you're trying to get through?
Look, to be fair, my scoring seems to be okay. At times there, I could probably outscore the best that's there. But I got to put it away at the end of it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I think there was one game there, tops, 10s, 5s, you know. You don't get those chances. Matt will tell you, you don't get those chances on the PDC. And that's why you can go in and win one game and knock out a seed with a 97, 98 average and take. But for me, the frustrating part is what goes wrong between winning that game and playing so well, and you play your next game 20 minutes later, and it's like you're not even related to a dart player.
Do you analyse? Do you break things down after a game, like in between games here?
I never did before. But I find myself now, when I miss those doubles, you know, look, I'm not going to say I should have ran away with this group because this group was extremely hard. This whole week was extremely hard. There was a lot of good players in this group. But I felt I played enough, I scored heavy enough that if I had put away, what I win today, 3 games, is it? 3 games out of 5?
Yeah.
I felt the game against Steve. I was on a double, he took out 103. There's nothing you can do about that. But I felt I gave myself the chances and I should be putting them away. Like, you know.
Well, you put them away enough. I mean, this is true dart player conversation. We
Yeah.
could win 9 out of 10. We wonder why we didn't get that one, and that's
Yeah.
what we're sort of seeing here. You just want that sort of perfection.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? It's not even perfection. I don't think this game can be perfected.
Absolutely not. No.
No, 100% it can't be. But I think for me, the most frustrating part for me is that, okay, if you were to go back over the last 12 months, I can beat the best. I'm not the best, clearly, but I can beat the best. But my problem is, I can go in, like I won my first 2 games today. There's no pressure on me, I'm top of the group, and everything feels normal. My dart feels good in my hand, my throw is great, but nothing. I get nothing back. I think at one stage there, you might have seen it there earlier on, obviously in commentary. I went maybe 60, 45, 180, and I went. Mm-hmm. And then 60 again after it. You see, but if you can put a ton either side of that 180, you're competing in the leg against the best in the world. And all I can say is that I've seen more consistency in a bowl of Rice Krispies. That is fact. That is fact.
Yeah.
I can play this game. at the very highest level. I've won World Masters. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like, but nothing. I could go home and bait my head off a wall, and I could come in here tomorrow night. And blow the whole thing wide open and win the thing outright, because I have the game to do it. But which John O'Shea is going to show up? Your guess is as good as mine.
Well, we're going to see you tomorrow night. Thank you for giving me probably one of the best lines we've ever had on an interview here at the Super Series. We appreciate it very much. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow night. I'll take that microphone off of you. We'll get some assessments off of Matthew Baker. John, many congratulations. We'll see you in tomorrow night's final. Let's have a look then at what we've seen then today. These are the results from our 15 matches for the day. And well, it was a group that we thought maybe at one stage 2 players going to run away with. Then Jimmy Van Schie and Ollie Holt can't get themselves back in the mix. And then suddenly it was just as we were at the start.
It's exactly what I expected to see throughout this group campaign. I said, well, at the halfway point when we had a bit of a chat, I says, I think we're going to get drama, but I don't think we're going to see any movement in the table in those top 2. And it was the top 2 that's gone through. Steve Hine and John O'Shea, they've been the 2 class acts of this group, and rightly so for me, the 2 players that take their place on Saturday night.
Well, let's talk about John O'Shea then in a little bit more detail. We've talked for so long, we're going to have to speed through this part of the show, but we can show some of John O'Shea's best moments from today. And look, when he had to turn it on, he did show his class.
But did you think we were stood next to a winner right then? We wouldn't have known. He seemed very down on himself. At one point, I just wanted to give him a hug. He seemed like he was really sort of picking all the negatives out of it. He's a guy that's had a few issues in his personal life. He's took a lot of heavy blows in recent times, and he's just got to find the positives. He's won a Group C here on debut. He's into tomorrow. He's absolutely right. He has the game that he can come here tomorrow night and win this. And maybe just listening to him speak, he needs that more than we realise.
But it's interesting, you were trying to allude to in that interview, look, you've been in that situation, or similar situations as a player. In some respects, when you're in that particular moment in time where John is it difficult, no matter what the situation is, to find those positives? Because everything just feels like it builds up and it builds up and it builds up.
He's got to find the positives. I can't tell him it, you can't tell him it, the table can't tell him it. Nobody can tell him. He'll have loads of people and great support from where he's from that will always be telling him, John, you're playing well. John, you're doing the right things. John, you're so close. But he has to see it. And right now he's not a guy who sees it. And that's why I think he really could do with picking something up like that trophy tomorrow night, that maybe now he can start to believe it internally. Because everyone's always telling him that he's done well to win this group. Unless he feels it himself, it won't matter.
The other qualifier from this group was Steve Hine. He was a 10-1 outside shot before a dart was thrown in this group. But you did say you fancy his chances, and you were proved right.
He was playing fantastic, wasn't he, on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday in Group A. He was very unfortunate not to have got the results. I think he's stepped it up even higher here. I've really been impressed with him, just how he's handled himself up on this stage. His big goal was to get back here again. Now he's in a Saturday night. Who knows how far he can go? I think he's took a big step towards letting the selectors know his intentions and the quality that he still possesses in 2024. And I think he could be a bit of a player tomorrow. No one's going to want to play Steve Hine. That's the situation he's in. He's going to be one of those awkward players that's just you want to avoid.
Let's talk about the 2 ADC Europe boys then, Ollie Holtkamp and Jimmy Van Schie. They're in the race pretty much right until the very... I actually felt sorry for Ollie a little bit there, because you could tell that in that last game against John that it felt like it was the end of a long week for him. As for Jimmy, again, both of them showed moments, but not on a consistent enough scale to qualify.
I didn't feel sorry for him. I didn't like the demeanour, and it's not the first time we've seen it so far this week. It was the demeanour of a beaten man, but you can't let that come and control your game. You can't just be sort of throwing darts away. There are people that sort of sat back at home, back in Germany, that would have been supporting him, family and friends, and you're not just letting yourself down in that situation, you're letting them down as well. So you really need to make sure that you stay focused, play with that same sort of determination all the way through. So that was a little bit disappointing to see there. Jimmy, fine example of how you should approach that last game. He came up here, he was smiling, but it didn't affect the performance. It didn't affect what he did. He kept that focus and he played well in that last game.
He certainly enjoyed that last game against Neil Manil. There was fist bumps everywhere, weren't there?
There was, yeah.
There was. Right. Let's have a look at next week, because it is Champions Week here at the Modus Super Series. Now, these are the players that are confirmed in the lineup. We will announce the 4-12, find the culmination of play tomorrow night. Andy Bolton, Wayne Jones, Tom Sykes, Chaz Barstow, Cam Crabtree and Reece Colley have all 1 weeks in this phase. They are topped up by the runners-up in Dan Webster, Ron Mullenkamp, Gary Stone and Ryan Harrington. It's a very, very good lineup. Some players that did some great stuff in 2023. Dan Webster, of course, dropping off the tour and getting straight into the fold in terms of championships. Just having a look at the runners and riders there, and I know we're going to confirm the full lineup in due course. Who do you like to look at as a potential champion of this series?
The person I like would also give us one of the most ironic stories ever. As every time he comes here, because of the big power scoring he's got, and I like Gary Stone. Now, the thing that I find interesting about Gary Stone is he never even won a week here before at the Super Series. Imagine if the first time he lifts a trophy on this stage, it's a Champions Week trophy. That could genuinely happen. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't go into this week as one of the strong favourites with the bookies.
Who would you say would be the favourite based on that 10? Crabtree's probably a name that will harbour a lot of headlines.
Oh, absolutely. He's going to be one of those off the back of what he did last year and the runs on the PDC Pro Tour, showing he got a really, really high ceiling. Hasn't had the greatest of starts in regards to Q School. It was a bit of a setback for him there, but this will now be the biggest thing that he's got on his radar. I'm sure he's getting ready for it right now.
And we're going to be watching all that action Monday morning, 9:30 a.m. Champions Week on Sporty Stuff TV and on the Modus Super Series YouTube channel. Save the date of next Saturday, the 17th of February. That is the big day. That's the grand final. That is when we're going to be suited, booted, and we're going to be crowning a champion on that board just to the right of me there. £20,000 going to the winner and a space in Super Series Immortality. You do not want to miss it. Right, we're back tonight, aren't we, for Group B? But between now and then, we're going to have to find out how much consistency's in a bowl of Rice Krispies, haven't we? It's the best I've ever had.
It's the first time I've ever heard that.
Right, we're going to try and think about that. We're going to be back at 10 o'clock. No, 9:45, slightly earlier time, 9:45 for Group B. But as far as Group C is concerned, well, there's no joking about. John O'Shea was top of the pack.